You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Cambodia's National Council for Children is appealing to the public for understanding of the situation of the minor who has killed his 5-year-old neighbor in Tabongkamun. EAC News has confirmed that the suspect is 14 years old, not 15, as previously reported. CNCC Deputy Secretary General Ms. Samba Tsukuntia has told EAC News that his age has a direct impact on how the case is being handled. EAC News reporter Reo Soko explains.
Article 14 of Cambodia's Juvenile Justice Law Strategic and Operational Plan 2018-2020 says that a minor below 14 years old who is suspected of committing an offense shall not be apprehended and will be referred to their district representative. CNCC Deputy Secretary General Ms. Sambat Sokontia has clarified that the minor in question is 14. Deputy Chief of the Chuk Commune, where the murder was committed, Sun Ming Lai, has also confirmed the child's age. But the fact that he is 14 and not under 14 has created a gray area for the court. He was going to be sent to Provincial Social Affairs but was returned to the court on Wednesday night, given that he is not under the age of 14. He remains in the care of the court until a further decision is made. In the meantime, local resident Pan Dun submitted an affidavit to the court stating that the child suspect is homeless and has no parents taking care of him. He apparently sleeps in the local pagoda. According to the CNCC, his parents separated several years ago. His mother later died while his father remarried and relocated. The minor, who also suffers with a mental health problem, has allegedly confessed to killing his 5-year-old neighbor after being bullied. The CNCC is urging the public to understand the minor's situation.
All the children are victims. Some are victims of their family, some are victims of the society. So please don't hate him. Before you make judgment, please try to understand why they do it. He is just a child with a mental health problem. He also has a right to be taken care of.
The CNCC has assured the public that if the minor is released by the court, he will receive proper counseling before being reintegrated back into society. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Cambodia's latest batch of vaccines arrived in the country on Thursday morning. The 1 million doses of Sinopharm take to 16 million the number of doses that have been delivered to the kingdom since the first batch was delivered in the first week of February. They were also made by Sinopharm. The special China Southern Airlines flight landed at Phnom Penh International just before 9:45 on Thursday morning. The 1 million doses of Sinopharm it was carrying have been bought from China, and there's plenty more on the way this month.
Cambodia will get all the planned 20 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines for 10 million people, or 62% of the total population, by the end of this month. In August, 3 million doses of Sinovac will arrive in Cambodia and 2 million more in September for the vaccination of children between 12 and 17 years old.
The Sinopharm shots, quickly loaded into the back of trucks, will be going into arms shortly, although now at 21-day intervals, not 14. The Ministry of Health made that change earlier this month to increase their efficacy. Studies have shown that the extra 7 days increase protection levels by over 25%. More vaccine doses will be arriving on Friday. 332,000 doses of AstraZeneca, donated by Japan, will arrive on Friday evening. Prime Minister Hun Sen will be there to receive them personally. Cambodia is also expecting its next shipment of COVAX doses in the coming weeks, which will be approximately 1 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. As of Thursday, 6.3 million people in Cambodia have received at least one shot. 4.25 million adults are fully vaccinated. The royal government is aiming to fully vaccinate 10 million adults before November, with the vaccination of children aged between 12 and 17 also being scheduled. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Foreign Affairs Minister Mr. Prak Sokhonn says cooperation between the countries of the Mekong and India has helped develop the Mekong region. He was speaking on Wednesday night as he co-chaired the 11th Mekong Ganja Cooperation Foreign Ministers meeting. Foreign ministers were reviewing the progress the partnership has made since its inception 20 years ago, with 38 projects already completed and another 30 still underway. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the story.
Foreign Affairs Minister Mr. Prak Sokhonn says the projects and activities under the Mekong Ganja framework have constituted an active part of the Mekong sub-region's development in the fields of health, education, environment, and culture. He says that the relationship between Mekong countries and India has significantly contributed to mutual understanding and trust, as well as the socio-economic well-being of its peoples. Together with his peers, Mr. Sokhonn praised the mutual support countries have been giving one another in the fight against COVID-19. Going forward, further meetings will be held to accelerate the process of the post-pandemic recovery, as well as to promote public health and ensure health security, especially in relation to the development of medical research and the production and distribution of drugs and vaccines. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Large parts of the world are dealing with climate-triggered catastrophes, with record rainfall in China prompting the worst floods in living memory. They come a week after record-breaking floods in Europe. Scientists agree that this is climate change happening right in front of our eyes, and it is these stories that are dominating world headlines this Thursday, the 22nd of July. No one remembers floods like this ever happening in Henan. The northern Chinese province normally sees very little rain in the summer, but at least 25 people have been swept away as record rains leave much of the area submerged. China's Ministry of Emergency Management has dispatched an 1,800-member rescue team. The Central Theatre Command of the People's Liberation Army has mobilized a further 5,700 troops. With heavy rain continuing to lash Henan, authorities have raised the flood emergency reaction level to 2, its second highest. It has never been raised in Henan before. More than 160,000 people have been evacuated. As a heatwave grips southwestern England, Britain's Met Office has issued its first ever amber extreme heat warning, saying unusually high temperatures and continuing high nighttime temperatures are creating a potential health risk. While ice cream sellers in London have been doing a roaring trade, experts say there's little to celebrate. They believe the hot weather has been brought on by climate change and that the British capital should brace itself for more 30-degree days that will soon become the norm. And climate change is also being blamed for the sheer extent of this year's wildfire season in the US. Satellite footage shows just how bad it is, with smoke wafting as far east as New York City. Pollution levels in the Big Apple are at record highs due to the smoke and soot. 80 fires are burning in 13 western states. Several hundred fires are also burning in central and western Canada. At least 85 of those are out of control. The western fires have all coincided with record-breaking temperatures. Hundreds of people have been killed. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. NASA's Mars rover Perseverance has started its historic hunt for signs of ancient life on the red planet. The rover has been working 7 days a week to test and practice with its sophisticated instruments that have now started taking soil samples from the Jezero crater. Scientists believe this was once a lake bed that may hold evidence of primitive life. NASA has already produced evidence of ancient rivers flowing into the crater that formed a delta region similar to southern Vietnam. Previous rovers have detected clay, which only forms in the presence of water. With its robotic arms, Perseverance is now drilling down into that clay to take samples. Among the questions scientists are hoping to one day answer is whether the soil in Jezero is sedimentary or volcanic, and whether the ancient lake went through multiple episodes of filling up and drying out again. Finely layered rock has already been photographed by Perseverance, raising hopes that evidence of life might be found in those layers. But we've got a long time to wait for answers. Samples will be collected over the next few months, but it won't be until 2031 when those samples are collected and returned to Earth.
Welcome back to the Daily Roundup. You're watching EAC News, and thank you for joining us. We are less than 24 hours away from the official start of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Everything seems ready, with Japanese fighter pilots even drawing the Olympic rings over the skies of Tokyo yesterday. Tokyo is receiving plenty of support from global leaders, with US First Lady Jill Biden leading the US diplomatic delegation, and national teams are ready to fight for the medals and the glory. The second-last ceremony for the Olympic torch relay was held in Tokyo on Wednesday. People seem happy, and 16-year-old Tsubasa Wada, whose father was a torchbearer, said she thought it was good that the Tokyo Games are being held. International leaders are showing support for Tokyo, with US President Joe Biden seeing the Games as a critical moment to show support for a long-time ally and trading partner. While we're being told that the opening ceremony will be sober, there was hints of what we can expect on Friday night. Japan's aerobatic squadron put in a final rehearsal on Wednesday, taking the Olympic rings to new heights. You're watching EAC News, and thank you for joining us. It's one of the world's most popular recreational drugs, and is being legalized in more and more countries around the world. But scientists have long wondered where marijuana first came from. It was long thought to be somewhere in Southern Asia, but that's not what a new study has found. The Science Advances journal says cannabis was one of the first plants to be domesticated by humans and has a long history of being used in textiles, food, and fuel. But its history has been difficult to research for legal reasons, at least until now. Researchers have found that cannabis was being widely used as a recreational drug as far back as 12,000 years ago, and likely emerged from northern China. After its domestication, it slowly spread across Europe and the Middle East in the Bronze Age, traveling to Africa in the 13th century before arriving in North America at the beginning of the 20th century. With decriminalization in many parts of the world has come commercialization. The cannabis market in the US alone is expected to be worth over $30 billion by the end of next year. While there has been some talk of decriminalizing marijuana in Cambodia, the drug remains illegal in the kingdom.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. eArts Cambodia's audience is growing. Our YouTube channel now has 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube, given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates eArts Cambodia's hard work and incredible achievement. She says not only has eArts Cambodia brought a unique voice and style to the world, but has also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to www.youtube.com/eArts Cambodia Subscribers get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. We'll see you there. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of eArts Cambodia's platforms and channels. YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eartscambodia.com. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Hun Sen has encouraged people not to forget to exercise to keep themselves healthy and prevent serious COVID-19 disease. On Tuesday night, he posted pictures of himself exercising on Facebook, telling those under quarantine to keep moving and stay healthy. But with gyms closed for over 4 months now, what exactly can you do to stay in shape? EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the answer.
With gyms currently closed due to COVID-19 restrictions and school sports fields also out of bounds, you might be left wondering what you can do to stay fit and healthy. Those under quarantine or self-isolation have it especially hard, locked in a hotel room or small apartment for 14 days. But you don't need dumbbells and barbells to stay in shape. Just use what you have around you. EAC News' own Alessio Mizuni is a fitness coach, and he showed us the type of exercises you can do anywhere.
When it comes to physical exercise, instead, there's this broadly common misconception that we need a gym to work out, right? This is what all people do. But it's not true. In fact, that's just an excuse. We just need a space that can be 3 by 3 square meters, and we can just do our squats. Easy. We just need a floor. We can do our sit-ups. We just need a yoga mat, for example, if we don't want to sit on the floor. Or we can do push-ups. We just need a floor, or to make it easier, we can use an angle and use, for example, a table.
Alessio says nutrition is also important, so lay off the junk food.
Gyms might be closed, but that's no excuse not to do some exercise. Your local park is a great place to exercise. If that's not an option, there's always a home-based workout. Remember, if there's a will, there is a way. Rhea Soko, EAC News, Phnom Penh.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The eastern province of Dabong Khmum has been rocked by a shocking murder. A 5-year-old boy has been killed by his 15-year-old neighbor. The little boy was reported missing on Monday and was found floating in a pond late on Tuesday night. The 15-year-old suspect is now in custody. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the details.
It was just after lunchtime on Monday that the parents of the 5-year-old boy went to their local police station to report that their son was missing. Police officers and neighbors conducted a search. His body was found at midnight on Tuesday in a small pond. Police immediately traced who was with the young boy before he went missing. It was his 15-year-old neighbor. After questioning, he allegedly confessed. Child Protection Unit Director James McCabe posted on the group's Facebook page that the 5-year-old had been beaten before he was drowned. It's alleged the 15-year-old became angry when his little neighbor swore at him. The CPU says the suspect is likely to be charged with aggravated murder of a child. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. With the pandemic starting to have an impact on food prices, the Ministry of Commerce says it is not engaged in price fixing. It says only the basic trading principle of supply and demand is at play. Food prices have been rising in recent weeks as border closures and increases in fuel prices cause havoc for transport and logistics companies. Rumors have begun circulating in Cambodia's markets about rising prices recently, particularly that of pork and other fresh goods. Fingers have been pointed at the Ministry of Commerce, but it says it is not fixing prices, either at markets or at the petrol pump. It says it is guided by the country's constitution and trade agreements with neighboring countries. It has reminded Cambodians that international oil prices have been climbing in recent months as major economies reopen around the world. This has a knock-on effect for transport costs, which in turn drive up the price of food. Border closures and increased logistical challenges are also having an impact on food prices. It does say, though, that any food producer found to be taking advantage of the situation and engaging in price gouging will be investigated if reported by members of the public. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Well, let's take a look now at stories making international headlines this Wednesday, the 21st of July. Typhoon Sempaka has made landfall in the coastal area of South China's Guangdong province. It's the first typhoon to make landfall in China this year. It slammed into the city of Yangjiang on Tuesday night, packing winds of almost 120 kilometers an hour. The city has blocked traffic from roads. It has also called back 384 fishing vessels. Over 7,500 people have been evacuated. The storm has played havoc with flight schedules. 127 flights have been cancelled at Baiyun International Airport. The typhoon is forecast to bring torrential rain to the southern part of the Pearl River Delta and the western part of Guangdong province. It is also going to affect weather in Cambodia with windstorms and heavy rain over the next few days. Elsewhere in China, record rainfall has prompted the worst floods in living memory, which have claimed the lives of at least 12 people. The central province of Henan usually sees very little rain during the summer. Some of its rivers, including tributaries of the Yellow River, have seen their water levels rise dramatically. They are expected to burst their banks in the coming days. According to China's meteorological department, the provincial capital of Zhengzhou saw 253 millimeters of rain in just 24 hours. Another nearby town received over 400 millimeters. Streets and subways have all been submerged. Motorists are stranded. Flights have all been cancelled. 10,000 people have been evacuated. And it might look like a regular middle-class home from the outside, but inside it's like something out of Imperial Russia. Money clearly can't buy taste, even when it's all from corruption. The owner of this mini mansion is a traffic cop who was arrested on Tuesday. He'd been running an extortion gang, extorting huge bribes from cargo transporters. Together with his 35 accomplices, he'd bribed his way to a bank balance of almost $250,000. Just a pity he didn't think of hiring an interior designer.
Welcome back to the Daily Roundup. You're watching EAC News, and thank you for joining us. Just 2 days to go to the opening ceremony of the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, and athletes are treading a fine line. Tokyo 2020 CEO Toshiro Muto says organizers have not yet ruled out a last-minute cancellation. The Olympic torch continues its way through the streets of Tokyo, with small groups of spectators gathering to see the flame. But the excitement could end up being a major anticlimax. At a media briefing, the CEO of the Games said we can't predict what will happen to the numbers of coronavirus cases, so we will continue discussions if there is a spike. Japan, earlier this month, declared a state of emergency in the host city, banning spectators from attending events. But there is also a lot of support and optimism.
May the Olympic torch be a symbol of hope that traverses the planet.
World Health Organization head Tedros Adhanom said on Wednesday that the Tokyo Olympics should go ahead and demonstrate to the world what can be achieved with the right planning and organization. Only time will tell. You are watching EAC News, and thank you for joining us. The world's first space tourists have enjoyed a history-making trip, but it was short, exactly 10 minutes and 10 seconds. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' company Blue Origin successfully flew him and 3 other passengers 107 kilometers up into the sky and back down to Earth. It was a historic trip and one loaded with symbolism. The date was no accident, the 20th of July, exactly 52 years to the day since Apollo 11 landed on the moon in 1969. The Blue Origin capsule sat atop of the New Shepard rocket named after Alan Shepard, the first American in space. It carried Bezos and his brother, Mark, as well as the oldest person ever to fly into space, 82-year-old Wally Frank.
Here, catch. Oh yeah, ding dong balls. Ready? Woohoo! Here it comes.
It also carried the world's youngest space traveler, 18-year-old Oliver Damon, whose dad spent $28 million on his ticket. The force spent 3 minutes in zero gravity before parachuting back down to Earth. Bezos described it as the best day ever. It came only 9 days after Virgin Galactic completed its first manned flight, and wealthy people around the world are now ready to book their seats for an out-of-the-world kind of holiday.
EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, please, please wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. eArts Cambodia's audience is growing. Our YouTube channel now has 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube, given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates eArts Cambodia's hard work and incredible achievement. She says not only has eArts Cambodia brought a unique voice and style to the world, but has also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers.